Shristam manamapi asachiputram atrasurupam arupam tasya grajamuripurim amaturim gostuartim Radha Kunda Magiribaram Aho Radhika Amadvasam Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Natosmi Guravehi Gaura Chandaya Radhikaya Tadali Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Ananda-Lilambaya Vigrahaya Hema Bhakti-Vyats-Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa-pradaya Caitanya Chandaya Namo Caitanya Chandaya Namo Caitanya Chandaya Namo Bhaktya Veda Aparadha Lakshay Chikasta Kamarita Rangamati Kripa Mahitam Sharanam Prapanja Kanakajaladagatro Nilasonabjanetro Mragamadavaravalo Malati Kundamalu Tarlataruna Vesho Anila Pitambaresho Smarane Pritani Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Smarane Pritani Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Tavevasmi Na jiva-ahimsa Divikyaya Devitam Namah Charatikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual guru, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashto Darasata Sismad, Rupa Goswami Varya, Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Narayan Goswami. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaisnavas and Our most merciful Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari instructed Srila Rupa Goswami Pad Taha vistarita hai pali prema pal iha mali seche nitya shavana dija. The devotee who daily sprinkles the fresh water of Harinam Sankirtan, who daily gives fresh water of pure bhagavat-katha, the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the association of pure and realized devotees, then his shraddha, his seva-vritti, that is his faith, his service mood will grow, go beyond the coverings of the material universe, beyond Viraja, beyond the Brahmajyoti, beyond Vaikuntha, and take shelter of the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. And there, this creeper will flourish. It will become luxuriant, with many flowers, branches and leaves, and the fruit of Prem, love for Krishna, will appear. So although his love has arrived there, and he is relishing the fruit of love for Krishna, others will see physically he's still here in this world chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. It does not stop once he has arrived there. Someone asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the result of this chanting? Srila Prabhupada said, more chanting. Sadhyo sadhana tattva jai kichu sakal Hari nama sankirtani melebe sakal. Caitanya Mahaprabhu said all the truths regarding sadhana, the practice, how to become perfect, and also sadhya, the state of perfection, are included there in Nam Sankirtan. In other words, that is the symptom of those who have attained siddhi, who have attained praying. That not by force, by habit, by practice, by the order of scripture or guru or anything, but due to the spontaneous explosion of love and separation in their heart. They always cry out, Ha Krishna, Hey Govinda, Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. These are the symptoms. You can see in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Akrura was taking Krishna and Balaram away from Vrndavan on the chariot. As the chariot was leaving, Shukadeva Goswami describes, gopis were crying, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So, according to the logic, that the activity performed by the siddha is the supermost sadhana for the sadhak. Therefore, it is concluded that the loud singing of the holy names is the primary of all practices of bhakti. Nama sankirtanam yasya prema sampadi balistam sadhanam shrastam paramakasha mantravat. Srila Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita is written that this chanting, loud chanting of Nam Sankirtan, more powerful, more important than Gun Kirtan, the chanting of Krishna's qualities, Rup Kirtan, the glorification of Krishna's form, even more powerful and more important even than Leela Kirtan, the Kirtans describing Krishna's pastimes, is this Nam Sankirtan. Balistam sadhanam shrastam. It is the sadhana shrestha, the best sadhana practice. Balistam, it is the most powerful in the matter of prema sampada, attaining the treasure of Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is a treasure. Without that treasure, one should think, my life is useless. One should be worried, what am I doing? Wasting my human form of life. Before Krishna appeared as Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, Chirkala nahi kari prema bhakti-dahan, bhakti bina jagatera nahi abastan. For a long time, I did not distribute Braja Prem, the pure love of Vrindavan, to the people of the world. Yet, without this love, the whole universe is useless. Whole universe, everything. Switzerland, Germany, America, Italy. All bogus. No need for any of these places, for any of the people or anything. Without this love. Everything is useless without this love. So Mahaprabhu used to cry, Prema dana bina byartha daridra jiban dasa kori vetan mari deo prema dan. Oh Krishna, without the treasure of divine love for you, I am a beggar. I am poverty-stricken. I am most worthless and destitute. Please, please, accept me as your servant. And give me the salary of Prem. Simply give me a drop of this love. I'll be your slave forever if you can give me just one drop of this love. Is this your mood? Or is something else going on in your mind? Chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, let me check my emails. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Prema dana bina vyartha. No, not like this. Don't be distracted. Be distracted not by the world, be distracted from the world. Whatever is going on here is nothing. It will all come and go. Everything in this world is only like bubbles, foam in the ocean. In the ocean, the waves come and they fall down, then some bubbles are there, and in a second, poof, poof, they disappeared. But you don't see it in the newspaper. Today there was a bubble, it disappeared. On the front page news. Why? Because it is meaningless, means nothing. So, so many bubbles are here in this world, came and went. The empire of Alexander the Great, boop, finished. Roman Empire lasted for more than 1,000 years, boop, finished. Like this. So in this way, all what we are calling the great and significant events of history, they are nothing. Only one significant event in history. Supreme Lord Sri Krishna came to this world to distribute love of God. So we should be distracted from the world and always absorbed at every moment, chanting loudly the holy names, praying for a drop of this divine love to come to us. Always being under the shelter of Gurudev. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalak Bhakati Sadma. Prem is available where? At the lotus feet of Guru. When the disciple holds always 24 hours a day lotus feet of his spiritual master in his heart, then he is connected with Krishna and this Prem can be received. Otherwise not. Never. Or as my Gurudev used to say, never, never and also never.
Never?
Never and never. In this Vedic culture, you have to tell something 3 times, because in Kali Yuga our intelligence is a little dull. If you say never, then we'll think never. But maybe there's some exception. If you say never, never, we'll think never, yes. It's not possible for anyone, but perhaps for me. Therefore it's necessary to say never, never and never. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he described to Rupa Goswami how even when the bhakti-lata, the creeper of devotion, arrives in Vrindavan, the devotee here continues to chant the holy names. Always giving water. He cannot stop. Therefore it is said, Balistam sadhanam shreshtam parma akarsham mantravat. The loud chanting of the holy names is like akarsha mantra. Akarsha mantra. In Tantra there are so many different types of mantra. And by these mantras different effects are attained. Like Uchchatana mantra. It makes a person forget their duties. Give up their duties. And Akarsha mantra. Mohan mantra bewilders a person. And Akarshan mantra attracts that person. In India, there the devotees who are staying in the temple, they know, don't take any food from outside, any prasadam. You don't know who has cooked it. Because if some young lady living outside the temple is attracted to one brahmachari, then she'll cook some food and go to a tantric. And they'll chant some mantras. Then you come to the temple, oh, Mahaprasad Prabhu. Then he's taking. Then in his mind he's thinking, oh, today I should go for preaching door to door. And he'll set out and go directly to the house of that lady. By the power of the mantra, tantra. So in the same way, Sanatana Goswami is saying, Paramakasha mantravat. When you loudly chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then Krishna himself becomes bewildered and thinks, oh, I'm going to go to his house today. It attracts Krishna himself to come and play in your heart. This is why it is said, Kirtana prabhave smarna haibe. Smaran, the remembrance of Krishna, will come automatically by the power of kirtan. Why? Because you don't have to by force remember Krishna. Krishna himself will come in your mind. When we chant the holy name without offense. So, Caitanya Mahaprabhu described these things to Srila Rupa Goswami. But he said there are some conditions. Yadi Vaisnava aparadha utte hatimata. Be careful. During your practice of sadhana, it will be successful. But you must be careful not to make offense to any Vaishnava. Why? Because if we commit offense to someone, then the cage of the mad elephant, the door of the cage of the mad elephant is opened. And the mad elephant comes out. So if you have a very small and tender plant, and the mad elephant is on the loose, what will happen? So, Utibeba Chindi Tarasuki Jayapata, the mad elephant, it can uproot the creeper of devotion or break the creeper of devotion. And then all the leaves become dry. So what does that mean? It means that if we make some offense, accidentally, unknowingly, then our creeper of devotion may be broken. So if there's a plant and it's growing and then it's broken, then there's a chance you can fix it again. And there will be some damage to the plant, some leaves may become dry, but after some time it can grow straight and go up again. But if knowingly we make offense, then the root of the creeper of devotion is uprooted. Then this plant cannot be saved. And all the leaves become dry. What are the leaves? Kleshagni subada moksha laguta krit sudurlabha sandrananda visheshatma Shri Krishna kashini chasa. The creeper grows. The first two leaves are the kleshagni, the destruction of the causes of all suffering. So naturally the devotee becomes happy. And Shubhada means auspiciousness comes in your life. Easily. You attain sadhu-sanga, the association of pure devotees. And all the circumstances which are obstacles are eradicated. You feel affection for everyone. Others also feel causeless affection for you. So there are many symptoms. All the great qualities of the devatas, not the devatas, of the great devotees like Prahlad Maharaj and others appear in that person. So these are some of the leaves. Then the next leaves which grow, moksha lagutakrit. You feel a joy that makes even the happiness of nirvana, liberation, seem quite insignificant. And sudurlabha, you attain an ecstatic feeling, relation with Krishna, which is extremely rare. So these are some of the leaves. But what will happen? If offense is there, then they become dry. The progress that you have made begins to vanish and evaporate. Therefore, it's very, very important to avoid offenses to pure devotees. Mahaprabhu gave another warning. He said, when you are watering the creeper, all of the water may not go on the creeper. Some of the water will be sprinkled around. And there, some weeds will grow. Nisidachar kutinati jiva-ahimsa labha puja pratistadi jat upasakagan. You are giving water, but something begins to grow. Nisidacha. That means the forbidden activities. There are many activities which Vaisnavas, they stay very far away from. First of all, the four regulative principles. It is forbidden. One should not eat meat, fish, eggs, these things, because they are tamasic. They will cause the consciousness to become clouded. And they are the result of, meat is the result of violence to another living being. So if we derive pleasure from the misfortune of another living entity, then their suffering will have to come to us also. And if one has knowledge, if one is ignorant of the fact, then reaction is not so big. But if one has knowledge, with knowledge comes responsibility. So if knowingly one will take the meat of a cow, then one will have to take birth as many times as there are hairs on the body of the cow. So there are forbidden activities. Rajasic foods also, onion, garlic, all these things. They should be left aside. This means weeds are growing. Nisidacha. The inappropriate association with the opposite gender. Also, gambling. So these are forbidden activities. Nisidacha kutinati. Kutinati means duplicity. If a person will secretly engage in forbidden activities, then they'll have to hide it from others. So then the whole chitta becomes distorted. Horrible thing. A person who is honest, who is truthful and who is straightforward has a clean conscience, they can be happy. But a person who is deceitful, who has duplicity, then his whole chitta becomes deformed. It becomes grotesque. And they can never feel a true satisfaction in their heart. Very sad thing. You know, one poet, Italian poet, Dante Alighieri. he has written very wonderful adventures, his life's adventures in the different levels of the universe, above and below. So he has written that when he was traveling down through different levels of hell, he came down to one level, and there he was in each level, he saw persons who he knew from history. But in one level, he saw a person whom he knew from his own, a contemporary of his own life. He saw the Pope in one of the lower levels of hell. And he turned to his guru, Virgil, the Roman poet Virgil, was guiding him. And he said, how is it possible that he is here? Because he's still alive and he's there. How is he there and here? So then Virgil said to him, don't you know that a person even living on the earth, if they betray someone, then at once a demon from hell comes up and possesses their body, and their soul goes straight down to hell, there and then. And that's why you think he's there, but actually he's here. So don't quote me that I'm saying this is Siddhanta, but it is a poetic illustration that when the heart becomes full of duplicity, when we become Vishwashkati, that means we betray the confidence of another person, betray the trust of another person. Then, the consciousness becomes grotesque, as if one has gone to hell. And all one's life, everything is spoiled. It's terrible, terrible thing. So Mahaprabhu said, be careful. When you are watering the bhakti-lata, nisijata, forbidden activities may come. And kutinati, duplicity. Jiva-ahimsa. Jiva-ahimsa means the enviousness of others. Causeless. Oh, there's some cause. Another person is very qualified. Very qualified. More qualified than you can imagine. More qualified than you can ever be in this life. Even. And if the heart is not sincere, then enmity will come. And so one will commit offenses. Other weeds also grow. Labha, puja, pratishtadi. I am serving Krishna for so many years, so I should get something in return. I know persons, they did so many book distribution for many years. And then some problem came in the temple. So they decided to leave. So they thought, I have collected $1 million, so at least I should take $500,000 with me when I go. So, when we render devotional service, it should not be for any gain. What is done, it is done for Krishna. But if we think something should come back to me, then labha, this is labh, the desire for profit, material profit from the performance of the spiritual activity. This is another weed. Puja, the desire to be worshipped by others, appreciated by others. Pratishta, the desire that one's reputation should spread far and wide. So these are all weeds which grow along with the kripa. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, as we are practicing devotional service, we must be very vigilant, very attentive. As soon as you see the tip of a weed coming from the ground, at once take it out. Don't let it grow. Because if it comes to any degree of stature, then it will choke. It will curtail the growth of the bhakti kripa. Indeed, one may become so bewildered that the bhakti kripa is completely died. And only a weed is growing. And the weed is so high and we're watering it every day. I must be a pure devotee because everyone tells me. I'm very, very learned. Because thousands of people who know nothing tell me that I'm learned. I must be progressing bhakti because I have hundreds and thousands of followers. Like this. And one is watering a weed and he's going up and thinking, how successful I am. But inside, no taste in Harina. Pratishtha is like a bagini. That means a female tigress. Because the male tiger is quite lazy, he sits around in the sun. But the female tigress, she has to feed her cubs. So she goes out and hunts and brings food for the cubs. So when Pratishtha is there, you have to have an enmity towards others who threaten one's Pratishtha. And all the disciples, you have no time for bhajans because you have to feed them all the time. So in this way, the spiritual life becomes curtailed, becomes the shadow of the truth. So Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, be very careful, be vigilant always. Always examine your own conscience. Mahaprabhu said, in order to protect the creeper from the mad elephant of offenses which may uproot it, you will have to make one fence around to protect. That fence is the association of pure devotees. When we stay in the association of pure devotees and serve them, observe their character, receive their blessing and mercy, so that our character transforms into their likeness, then the tendency to commit offenses gradually diminishes. Susrustrayo bhajana vigyam ananyam anya nindadi shunya ridam ipsita sanga labdya. Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita said, anyone who is chanting the holy name, from your heart you should give honor to them, respect them, accept them as a member of your spiritual family. But if someone has diksha, not just that they received initiation, but rather they have realized sambandha gyan, they have diksha in the real sense of the term, then not only should you honor that person from your heart, but physically you should give dandavat-pranam. And if someone is bhajana vigya, they have realization in their spiritual form of the nitya seva, daily services of Radha and Krishna, then ipsita sanga labdya, it is very desirable to attain their association. Susrusraya, to listen to them with great faith and serve them and try to follow their instructions. How can we recognize such a person? Ridam ipsita, so nindadi shunya ridam. They can be identified by the quality that their heart is completely devoid of any tendency to criticize someone. Always be careful. So, Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, protect your bhakti-lata by the fence of sadhu-sanga. So if a devotee attaining sadhu-sanga then runs away from sadhu-sanga, then giving up the association of pure devotees immediately opens the cage of the hatimatra, the mad elephant. And he will come. Sato sanga chari koinu asato bilas. Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, I gave up the association of pure devotees because I wanted to play in worldly activities. And now by this, the karma bandha has, the noose of my karma has come now around my neck. And it's getting tighter and tighter. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his song, Gora Pahu Nahabhajina Mainu, he's given this warning. Be careful. The sadhu-sanga is our greatest treasure. If giving up the association of devotees to associate with non-devotees, due to the fact that in sadhu-sanga it is not possible to engage in sense gratification, because there is no mundane talk, there is no mundane activity. But if leaving that, one goes into the worldly activities and worldly association, surely the hati matter is released and the devotional kripa will be damaged. In the association of neophyte devotees, always mundane talk will come. This mundane talk is very dangerous. It usually consists of two things: glorifying oneself and criticizing others. You can check. If you don't speak something about Krishna, either it will be a direct or indirect glorification of oneself or a criticism of someone else. So both are like poison. One should be very careful. Sometimes persons have a political mind and they come and they say, oh, this sadhu, this Vaisnava, he said this, Siddhanta. Is it bogus or not? So, on subjects, don't take anyone's name. Because you don't know whether the person has said it or not even. So you may say, if there's some spiritual question, we can discuss what is written in scripture. And then on the basis of this, you yourself decide what is bona fide or not bona fide. But don't ask me who is bona fide or not bona fide. Only we can discuss Gita, Bhagavatam, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, then you can decide. In this way, be completely free from the desire to criticize or minimize anyone. Guru can give criticism of his disciple, but that is not criticism, that is purification. Because Guru's heart, he has no desire to criticize. So even if you see a fault in the disciple and speak it, this is not coming from him, this is Krishna's Kripa Shakti working through him to purify that devotee. Understand? Akroda Paramanda Nityananda Rai. Nityananda Prabhu is called Akroda Paramananda. He has no anger at all and he is full of joy. Then why is it that when Nityananda Prabhu was on a tour of the holy places and he came to a group of Buddhists, he saw they were meditating on a shunya, nothing. And he asked them a question, but they gave no reply because they're absorbed in nothing. So then Nityananda Prabhu kicked them in the head and went away. So why would Nityananda Prabhu, who is so kind, full of joy and never becomes angry, kick them in the head? This was a special mercy. The Kripa Shakti came. So now the Buddhists, instead of meditating on nothing, they're meditating on the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. So, in the same way, sometimes Shri Guru, he has to criticize or correct the disciples, but this is not considered to be any kind of ninda. But others have no right. If you have no power to change a person, then what benefit will you or anyone else get from this? So, to criticize Vaishnavas who are engaged in spreading the glories of the holy name is the first offense to the holy name. We'll have to give up 10 offenses. But we find that even to give up the first offense is very rare. Because this first offense is in epidemic proportions in many communities all over the world. So sometimes Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Purana of the holy name. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies the power of Krishna's name and also very deeply describes the psychology by which a devotee can overcome offenses to the holy name. So, there's a very beautiful history in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing which one becomes very cautious and very alert to not commit the first offense to the holy name. Once upon a time, the great sage Vidura, he met with Maitreya Rishi and he wanted to hear history from him. He said, "Oh Maitreya Rishi, please tell me. I know that Lord Shiva is a very peaceful and satisfied person. He has no enmity to anyone. He is always joyful and merciful. So how is it possible that Daksa Maharaj, one of the Prajapatis, the progenitors on the higher planets, a demigod, became the hostile to Lord Shiva, even though Lord Shiva was the husband of his own daughter Sati? How is it possible?" So then Maitreya Rishi began to explain this history to Vidura. Hare Krishna. Please come back soon. So, Maitreya Rishi began to describe. Once upon a time, in the higher planets, in the heavenly planets, there, the Lokapals, the demigods, who are the protectors of the universe, they assembled together for the performance of a great sacrifice. Lord Brahma was there, Shiva was there, and many other devatas and their wives and family members. Everything was decorated very beautifully. And then, suddenly, there was a great shining light. And everyone looked around and they saw Prajapati Daksha. Daksha Maharaj, the chief of the demigods who are progenitors. They populate the universe. So he was shining like the sun, very effulgent. And when he entered, everyone except for Brahma and Shiva, they stood up with folded hands and they bowed to him. Even Brahmaji, who is the supermost of the devatas in the universe, spoke sweet words to him. And Daksha Maharaji took permission from Lord Brahma to take his seat. So Daksha Maharaj was about to sit down and he noticed that Lord Shiva was just sitting there. He didn't get up and he didn't even give some sweet words like Brahma. So Brahma is very senior to Daksha Maharaj. But Shiva, when Daksha Maharaj saw this, he stopped and he addressed the entire assembly. He said, "Oh gentlemen, uncultured persons, this so-called Shiva," Shiva means auspicious, so-called Shiva is not auspicious, he is inauspicious. He has contaminated this assembly of cultured people. He has spoiled the fame of the Lokapals, of the protectors of the universe, by his behavior. Just see what he has done. He married my daughter. So being my son-in-law, he has accepted a position inferior to me in status, in our family. Yet still when I arrived, he did not stand up. He did not speak even any sweet words. So don't think that I'm speaking about these words out of hostility or envy. In my life I never knew what was hostility or envy. I have no experience of this in my life. Truthfully I'm speaking to you. That this person, he married my daughter. I didn't want my daughter to marry him actually. Because my daughter has very beautiful lotus eyes. And he is a market lochan. He has eyes like a monkey. How can I marry my beautiful lotus-eyed daughter to a person with a market lochan, monkey eyes? And what's more, he's filthy. His body is smeared with ashes. He dresses decorates himself with the human skulls and bones from dead bodies. He keeps his hair in long matted locks. Not very tidy looking person. And he has many followers. Bhoot, Pret, Pisachi, ghosts, ghouls and hobgoblins. Many persons, demons in the mode of ignorance are following him everywhere. He lives in impure places. He likes to stay in the cremation ground where there are dead bodies. So he is the insane. And he's very dear to those who are insane. And he is the leader of the legions of the insane. So I would not have given my daughter to him if it were not for the order of Lord Brahma. He told me to do it. Now see what happened here. Daksha was criticizing Mahadev, Lord Shiva. But as a result of criticizing a Vaisnava, now the offense to his own guru was coming in his mind. Brahmaji is his guru. So by saying, oh, I never wanted to give my daughter to him, but Brahma told me to. Now, his offense is overflowing and becoming an offense to his spiritual master also. So in this way, Daksha Maharaj was insulting Shiva. And then he became so angry, he took water in his hand. You know, before you make a vow, you have to do achaman and put water in your hand and drop it on the ground. Before, remember Gayatri in the morning. We'll do achaman first, because we're making a vow. What? Swaha. Just like a young lady, when she gets married, then in the wedding ceremony, then the priest tells her to say the mantra to the husband. Swaha, I offer myself to you. And by uttering this 2 syllables, swaha, one time, then that soul of that woman is now connected to her husband for 7 lifetimes. This is the Vedic wedding ceremony. One time, swaha, now these 2 souls, they are married 7 lifetimes. So, what a strong relationship comes from this mantra, though it's worldly, connected with the physical world. So when Gurudev gives the Diksha mantra, and you will say not once, but 30 times every day to Krishna, then what kind of sambandha, relation will come between the soul and Krishna? So Daksha Maharaj, he took the water in his hand. And some of the people, they were saying, no, no, don't do this. But others who had some enmity towards Shiva, like one demigod called, his name was Bhaga. He was moving his eyebrows in anticipation. Yeah, now it's getting interesting. Now it's warming up. Another one called Pusha, he was smiling, showing his teeth. And Daksha Maharaj, he took the water and threw it on the ground. He said, I curse Shiva, that when sacrifice is performed, then all the devatas, they will get their share of the sacrifice, but there will be no oblation, there will be no share for Lord Shiva. And then Daksha Maharaj, he left that place. Actually, it's not possible to criticize a pure devotee, or to criticize Krishna. Whatever words come out, by Shuddha Saraswati, the goddess of learning, it becomes a glorification. So what he said was true. Yes, Lord Shiva is so superior to all these mundane demigods that he is not fit to eat along with them. He should not eat in their company. So, Daksha Maharaj, he left that place. Then, suddenly, all the associates of Lord Shiva were there, like Nandeshwara, like Maniman and Mada, and they immediately rushed forward. They wanted to destroy the sacrifice. They wanted to attack the brahmanas there, like Bhrigu Rishi and other brahmanas who sat down peacefully while the offense was being made. You see? It means to speak an offense is not only an offense. To listen to an offense is also an offense. To hear the criticism is also an offense. So because the other Brahmanas and Devatas there sat and listened and they didn't do anything, therefore they were all implicated. So the followers of Lord Shiva went to attack them with their upraised weapons. But at that moment, Bhrigu Muni, he was very, very alert. With great presence of mind, he chanted a mantra from the Yajurveda, which produces Devatas called Ribus, who always protect sacrifices. So he made an oblation into the southern portion of the sacrificial fire, and at once thousands of Ribus appeared from the fire, carrying in their hands the half-burned logs of wood, which were burning in the fire. And at once they came and they began to beat all the followers of Lord Shiva. So a big fight took place. There was cursing and counter-cursing. Nandishwara, he was very, very upset. Lord Shiva's first, the primary follower. So Nandishwara, he said to the Brahmanas, you are all guilty of offense. You are envious of Lord Shiva. Why? Because you are absorbed in the bodily consciousness. You are doing austerities. You are studying the Vedas. You are performing sacrifice. But for what? For your bodily maintenance. So you have a vision of duality. So Nandishwara said, I give you a curse. That because you are envious of Lord Shiva, therefore you will never understand the true meaning of the Vedas. You will be averse to the service of the Supreme Lord, and you will perform all your sacrifices only for the sake of getting some material comforts. And you will not be successful. You will have to go door to door, trying to beg from people and take some money from them. So if you go to India today, you can see the effect of the curse of Nandishwara. So many Brahmanas are there. When you go visit the holy places, they'll run behind you, saying, "Oh, Brijbasi Brahmin, give me 100 rupees." Like this. So this is happened in now in Kali Yuga, very prominent. That those Brahmanas who are meant to live for the service of Supreme Truth, they do the karma kanda only for their bodily maintenance. And they become reduced to begging. When Nandishwara gave this curse, then Bhrigu Muni said, "Oh, I give a counter curse to all the followers of Lord Shiva." Why? Because you have not respected the Brahmanas. We are the upholders of the Vedic religion. So because you have made offense to the Vedas and to the Brahmanas, then I curse you that all those who will worship Lord Shiva, they will become atheists. And they will be addicted to smoking ganja. And keeping long hair and dreadlocks and all of these things. So also if you go to India today, you can see those who are Shivites worshipping Shiva independently of the worship of Krishna. Yeah, it's very unclean. And always they'll invite you, come and sit with us. Bam bam bole. When they have chilam and they're smoking marijuana. And mostly those who call themselves Shivites, they say that the supreme reality is Brahman, light, with no personality, no desire, no form, no activities. So what is this? If you say, I believe in God, but God is not a person with a form, then that's atheism. I believe in God, but this God I believe in has no characteristics. That's atheism. So in India now for thousands of years, the Brahmanas who do jagyas for Vishnu and Shivites, they're very often quarreling. There's a great history of quarrel amongst them. So in this way Nandishwara gave curse to the Brahmanas, and Bhrigu Rishi gave curse to the followers of Lord Shiva. And the big fight broke out. That's when Bhrigu Rishi made the oblation and the Ribus appeared and they chased away all the followers of Lord Shiva. Shiva himself had already left. As soon as everyone started cursing and counter-cursing each other, Lord Shiva he was a little disappointed. And he just walked away while the whole battle was going on. So then, a long time passed. Shiva was staying in Kailash, Mount Kailash, a very beautiful place, peacefully engaged in his meditation on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So one day, after some time, Lord Brahma had made Daksa the chief of the Prajapatis in the performance of another sacrifice. So because Daksa had the support of Brahma, the patronage of Brahma, he became very proud and thought that he was invincible. And he organized a huge sacrifice, and the word spread throughout the universe. And many demigods and demigoddesses, they were all excited. Because for them the sacrifice is a big festival, it's a grand social event not to be missed in the heavenly planets. So Shiva was meditating. His wife Sati, who is the daughter of Daksha, she was there, and she saw that there was like a traffic jam in the sky. Many beautiful, thousands of celestial airplanes were all flying to the sacrifice of Daksha Maharaj. And on them were beautiful demigods and very beautiful demigoddesses, all dressed in their finest ornaments. And they were talking to each other about how excited they were to go to attend this very important heavenly social function. At that time, Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, approached him and said, "Oh, my dear Swami, I have heard all the young ladies in the heavenly planets are talking about this wonderful event. And they're all going to dress up in their finest clothes. I also want to dress up and go. Especially it's at my father's home. So what daughter can tolerate a special event in her father's house and not go there? I also want to go there. I want to see my friends. I want to see my family members. Not only that, but you have tattva gyan. So you have no attachment to anything of this world. But I don't understand tattva very well. And therefore, I have a deep-rooted desire to see my birthplace one more time. You see, this is one of the symptoms. This is one of the symptoms when you are in Maya. This very sentimental mood comes. The place where I was born. I want to kiss the dust of that place. It is so dear to me. You know, in England, in the 60s, there was a very daring robbery. It was called the Great Train Robbery. And one group of thieves, they planned it very carefully, and they stole millions of pounds. And they all escaped also. Oh, some got caught, but some of them escaped. So one of them, he escaped and he went to Brazil. And he could not be extradited from there. So he was very happy. He was in all the newspapers with his yacht, staying with film stars and rock stars, like that, on his yacht, drinking champagne. You see, I stole millions and got away with it. And the police could not catch him. But he became 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. And then in his old age, he was like, I just need one more time before I die to drink a pint of beer in my favorite pub in the East End of London. Just one time. I'm not happy here. In Copacabana, in Rio de Janeiro. I want to just drink one glass of beer in the pub in where I was born. So secretly he came back and he went there, and the police caught him and he went to jail. Oh, you see how the attachment to the place of one's birth is very, very strong. My God. So this is a sign. Really. When the heart becomes purified, then you will not think, I am a person of this soil. The Vedas say, Amritasya Putra. You are the sons of nectar. You are the sons of immortal transcendental nectar. Your home is not here. Your home is in Goloka Vrndavan. We have to have the mamata, the possessiveness. For that soil, the dust of Braj, Brajaraj. Brajadul hi prano se pyari lage, Brajamandala mahi basai raho, Rasiko ke susang me master raho, Jagajala se nata bachai raho, Nitya pyari ki jaan ki nihar karu, Chabi chaka se nata chikai raho, Mera vinod bihari vinoti yehi, Meri naino se naina milai raho. Govinda bolo Hari Gopala bolo,
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 Radha Ramana Hari Govinda bolo,
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda bolo.
Do whatever it takes, but come to Brajmandal Parikrama this Kartik. Sell your car if you need to, no problem. You can sell your mother, but not Madhav. Madhav should not sell his mother.
So your mother-in-law.
But try to come to Brajmandal Parikrama. Then by worshipping the dust of Braj, by performing Brajmandal Parikrama, attachment will come. You will forget your home, so-called hometown. In this poem, the poet is saying, Braja dulhi prano se pyari lage. The dust of Vrindavan is more dear to me than my own life air. Brajamandala mahi basai. May I always reside in this place where Krishna performed his pastimes. Rasikoke susangame mastarahu. And not only staying there, but being there, I want to be sinking into the nectar of association with Rasik Vaisnavas. Jagajala se nata bachairahu. Oh, if my Lord, if you can bless me with this, only will I be saved from the net of material existence. Chabichaka se nata chakairahu. And there I can see the face of Govinda, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Radha Damodar. Very beautiful. So I am just begging for this. Oh Vinod Bihari, may my eyes always remain looking into your eyes. So attachment is the nature of the soul. You cannot give up attachment. You can only replace it with a superior attachment. Vishayava nivartante nirarasadina rasvajam rasopyasya param dristva nivartate. In Bhagavad-Gita, Shri Krishna said, a person may restrain their senses from the objects, but in the mind, the taste for the objects is still remaining. But upon experience the higher taste, the joy of devotional service to Krishna, then, only then can one give up the lower attachments. So, where were we? Yes. Sati was begging Lord Siva, please, I want to go and see my birthplace one more time. Please give me permission. Lord Shiva said, we have not been invited. See, everyone was invited, but Shiva and Sati were not invited to the sacrifice. So he said, although there's no fault in going to the house of your father, or your friend, or your spiritual teacher, even without an invitation, you may go, there's no fault in this. But you should never go to a place where the host criticizes his guests or becomes angry with his guests. And if you go there, then an insult that comes from a family member is more painful than arrows shot from the bow of an enemy. If an enemy shoots you with an arrow, you can tolerate it. But if one of your family members speaks harsh words, then you cannot get it out of your mind. And it causes more and more pain for a long time. For years, sometimes there's a family feud. There's some uncle and some cousin, or they don't talk to each other for 20 years. Just because of a few harsh words that have been said. So Lord Shiva warned her. But here, Lord Shiva said to Sati a very important verse. He said, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yadiyate Tatra Pumam Apavritaha Sattvecha Tatra Bhagavan Vasudevo Hyajokshido Me Namasa Vidhiyate. This is one of the very important verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Lord Shiva is explaining why he did not pay obeisances to Daksha Maharaj. He said, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. It means this world is a composite of the reactions of the three energies. Tamagun, the mode of ignorance, Rajagun, the mode of passion, and Sattvagun, the mode of goodness. However, if one's consciousness can become purified, then the consciousness experiences the dimension beyond these three qualities of the material world. That stage is called Vishuddha Sattva, pure goodness. It is not the material goodness that's being purified, because material goodness is always material. But Vishuddha Sattva is the internal spiritual potency of the Supreme Lord. So that Vishuddha Sattva is known by the name Vasudev. Vasudev. Why? Because in Vasudev, the state of Vishuddha Sattva, one can experience Vasudev, the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Understand that Krishna is not very far away from you. He's not very far away. Krishna is here right now. Tribir guna maya bhava ebi sarvamidam jagat mohitam na vijanati mamebhya paramabhyam. Krishna said, the whole world does not know me because their consciousness is below the gunas and I am above it. So Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is here right now. But when our consciousness is in the gunas, we cannot experience him. When we chant Harinam and the consciousness Chaito Darpanamarjanam is cleansed by the vibration of the holy name, then the consciousness comes to the plane of Vishuddha Sattva and one can realize, oh, my Ishtadev, my Prananath is here. So, Yadiyate Tatra Pumam Apavrita. Lord Shiva said, in that state of consciousness, the Supreme Lord is apavrita, uncovered. There's no covering at all. Sattvecha tasmin bhagavan vasudevo yajokshajo me namasa vidiyate. So Lord Shiva said, because I am always in that state of consciousness, Vishuddha Sattva, I am always experiencing directly the presence of the Supreme Lord. And namasa vidiyate, I worship him by bowing down at every moment. Now, in ordinary dealings, when friends, family members or acquaintances come together, they greet each other. They bow down, they embrace. They give respect to each other. But what is the meaning? Why is this etiquette in society? Because jibe saman dibe jani Krishna adhistan. One should respect every living entity because Krishna is living in his heart. So though the ordinary persons who in Maya, they respect each other, each other's bodies. They cannot see each other's souls. And certainly they cannot see the presence of God in anyone. So they're showing respect to each other's bodies. But enlightened persons, when they meet someone, they bow down to them. They're bowing down to the Supreme Lord in their heart. So Lord Shiva essentially is saying, when Daksha Maharaj came, those who were in bodily consciousness stood up and respected his body. Brahmaji respected the Lord in the heart. But I was absorbed in Samadhi. In the stage of Vishuddha Sattva, I was already bowing down to the Supreme Lord directly at every moment. And therefore, there was no fault in Lord Shiva not giving respect to Daksa Maharaj. But Lord Shiva's consciousness was so high, Daksa Maharaj could not imagine what state he was in, and he projected a fault onto Lord Shiva. Understand the meaning of this? This verse also has a patantar. Patantar means that some of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, they may have alternative readings. Pat means reading or recitation, and anta means different. So the last line of this verse can be Hyajoksha jo me namasa vidhiyate or Hyajoksha jo me manasa vidhiyate. So namasa vidhiyate means I always worship the Lord by bowing down to Him. And manasa vidhiyate means I worship Him in my mind. That is called manasi seva. So, Srila Jiva Goswami also explained this verse in Bhagavad Sandarbha. He said that if someone will ask Lord Shiva, what are you doing? Then he will tell, Manasa vidhiyate. I am serving the Supreme Lord. In my mind, I am doing a chintan, meditating on the pastimes of the Supreme Lord with my mind. Manasa vidhiyate. Vasudha sattvam vishuddham. Taking shelter of the internal potency Shuddha Sattva. So then if someone will say to him, why don't you just worship the Lord in your mind? Why do you have to take shelter of Shuddha Sattva? Vishuddha Sattva. So then Lord Shiva, he's replying, Hyajoksha me. The Supreme Lord is a doksaj. That means he is beyond the realm of the senses, he is beyond the realm of the mind. And therefore you cannot serve him in your mind unless the influence of Vishuddha Sattva appears there. You see? Try to understand why the sandarbhas are important. Because many people, they think, Manasik Seva means in my mind I just, here we are, I am in Vrndavan, Krishna's there, and now I'm in my form and I'm serving him. Like this. No. Lord Shiva is saying, Krishna is a doksha, you cannot even imagine what he's like. So manasa vidhiyate, the internal service of the Lord can only take place when under the shelter of sattvam vishuddham vasudeva shaktitam. When the internal potency is making appearance. Because those potencies are present in the holy name. Nam nam akari bahuda nija sava shaktish. So in this way Lord Shiva explained why it was. Actually he was not at fault in this incident. So then he told Sati, if you go there, you will not be received nicely and you'll be insulted. And to be insulted by the family members, it will be for you more painful than death. And then Lord Shiva was silent. So then Sati, she went away. And she was thinking, should I go or should I not go? Lord Shiva had said, if you go, then it will not be good. So he advised her not to go, but he did not strictly say, don't go. So, really, if Gurudev tells, as you like you can do, but this will not be good, then you should not think Gurudev suggested, you say, Gurudev has ordered me. You should take it like an order. I saw sometimes, when my Gurudev would speak, he would ask others to speak as well. And he liked, some devotees he liked to listen to their katha, others he liked to hear if they have some wrong idea and correct them also. So he would ask the devotee, oh, you stand up, explain this verse. Then the devotee would stand up and say, oh, Srila Gurudev has asked me to explain this verse. Gurudev will say, stop. You don't say, Gurudev asked. You say, taking the order of Guru Pada Padma upon my head, I will try to carry this order. Understand? So, but she was not like that. She was not like that. She was inside her room, outside her room, coming and going, like a pendulum swinging. Should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? Should I not go? She could see more demigoddesses all dressed up in their best ornaments. She said, I have to go. So that when she set off alone by herself, but though she went alone by herself, then the Nandi, the follower of Lord Shiva, the bull, he went behind her, and thousands of other followers of Lord Shiva also came there. And they sat her on the bull. They gave her a bird to hold in her hand, and a lotus flower, and a mirror, and all types of paraphernalia like a princess. They carried a parasol above her head. They were beating drums and playing musical instruments, and it became like a very pompous royal procession. And in this way she travelled through the sky, and she went to the planet where Daksha Maharaj was performing the sacrifice. So when she arrived there with this big procession, then all the demigods thought, oh, Sati's come. But because they were afraid of Daksha Maharaj, they didn't welcome her, they didn't speak to her. So Sati arrived with the associates of Lord Shiva. Only her mother spoke with her and some of her sisters. And they tried to offer her a seat and speak some sweet words. But Sati did not accept whatever they offered, because she was just looking. Where is my father? My father insulted my husband. By this he has insulted me. He didn't care that I didn't see him for a long time. Now I finally came back to my father's house. Will he accept me? She looked and saw all the places were ready to offer the remnant of sacrifice to all the demigods, but there was no place for Lord Shiva. And she was very upset. So she came into the center of that assembly, and no one accepted her. No one accepted her. So then she was very upset. And in front of everyone, she put on saffron robes. And she told her father, you cannot imagine the opulence, the position of Lord Shiva. What is his state of consciousness? And the joy he experienced, because you are absorbed in bodily consciousness. You have become proud. You have become envious. And therefore you criticized a faultless person who only has compassion for everyone. Sometimes when I'm at home, Lord Shiva calls me Dakshayani. Dakshayani means the daughter of Daksha. And at that time I become very sad to remember I'm related to you. Because you are aparadhi. You are a great offender. But I have some connection with you because this physical body of mine has come from you. So if a person drinks poison, then the only solution is to vomit. So a person who hears the offense to a pure devotee, like Lord Shiva, then they should cut out that person's tongue. Or they should cover their ears and leave that place. Or they should kill that person. Or they should kill themselves. The scripture says this. Why? It's for different levels of persons. For the Brahmanas, they may not have the physical power, so they cannot inflict a punishment on the offender directly. And they cannot kill themselves because that would be committing the sin of killing a Brahmin. So the Brahmanas, they should cover their ears and they should leave. But the Kshatriyas, they have weapons and power. So if someone commits offense, they should remove their tongue. Otherwise my Gurudev would say, if someone makes some criticism, then you should speak Siddhanta in such a way that they cannot reply. And that is the same as removing the tongue. You understand? So, and those who are the Sudras and Vaishyas, they should give up their life. Because hearing offense has contaminated the body, they should give it up and their soul will be very joyful. They'll continue their journey in the next life. So Sati, being a woman, considered herself to be on the level of Vaishyas and Sudras. So she decided to give up her body. In front of her father, wearing saffron robes, she sat down in meditation. And she began to raise the pran from Muladhara chakra to the Manipurak chakra. Keeping it in balance there, she raised the pran to the Anahata chakra and then to the Agya chakra. and she meditated on the element of fire within her body. And very tightly holding on to the lotus feet of Lord Shiva in her mind, her body burst into flames. The fiery element came out and she was incinerated there in front of everyone. Everyone was in shock. But Daksa, because of his offenses, he was so hard-hearted. He wasn't even moved. Okay, let it be. Terrible. Big fight broke out among the followers of Lord Shiva and the Brahmanas. And the followers of Shiva were driven away. They came to Lord Shiva and they told him what happened, that Sati had given up her life. So then Shiva, he pulled one of his jata, one of his locks, he pulled it out, and laughing, loudly laughing, he threw it on the ground. And at once an enormous black demon, whose head was touching the clouds, whose hair was like fire, who had ferocious teeth, who had thousands of arms, each carrying deadly weapons. His name was Virabhadra, appeared there. He bowed down to Lord Shiva and said, "Oh Master, please order me what to do." Lord Shiva said, "Destroy Daksha and his yajna." So, Virabhadra set off there, accompanied again by all the followers of Shiva. They were performing the yajna, the sky became black. They thought, what's going on? There's no wind, so there's no dust storm. And then they saw this huge personality, Virabhadra, who was the embodiment of the wrath of God. Because when Vaisnava aparadha is made, then we see like Devasa Rishi, the chakra of the Supreme Lord, who is Lord Nishingadev himself, was chasing Devasa Rishi all over the universe. So this time, due to offense, the wrath of God in the form of Virabhadra came. When we hear this katha, then we start to think really seriously. It's probably not a good idea to criticize anyone. You just remember, any loose word, oh, this Virabhadra will come for you. So, Virabhadra came into the arena. The associates of Lord Shiva, they began to break down the poles, pull down the decorations. Some of them went to the fire sacrifice and began to pee in the fire sacrifice. Brahmanas were running here and there, they were catching them, arresting them. They were going into the ladies' quarters also. It was pandemonium, complete chaos there. So, Virabhadra, he saw Bhrigu Rishi, and he grabbed Bhrigu Rishi by the moustache and ripped off his moustache. Then he saw Bhaga. Bhaga was moving his eyebrows when Lord Shiva was being offended. And Virabhadra grabbed him and poked out his eyes and then threw him on the ground. Then Posha, who was smiling when Lord Shiva was offended, Virabhadra knocked out his teeth. And then he grabbed Daksha Maharaj. So one thing, when Nandishwar criticized the Brahmanas, gave a curse to them, he said, this Prajapati Daksha, because he's in the bodily conception of life, he does not respect Lord Shiva, and therefore he's just attached to sex. His only pleasure is enjoying sex, and he's Prajapati, so. He said, so for him, because he's so dull from engaging in the sexual activities, in the future you'll have the head of a goat. So Nandishwar had given this curse. So now Virabhadra, he took the Daksha in his hand, and he took a big sword, which was there at the Jagya, and he began to try to cut off the head of Daksha Maharaj. However, Daksha Maharaj, by his austerities, was very tough, and he could not even pierce the skin. So after trying again and again, then Virabhadra was looking around, what can we do? And then he saw there was one wooden contraption like a guillotine that they use for the sacrificial animals. There, oh, this will do. And so then he took that and he put Daksha in it and then he took the head of Daksha and he threw it into the southern portion of the sacrificial fire. So everything was completely destroyed. And then Virabhadra and the followers of Lord Shiva, they left that place. So the demigods who had survived, they were very upset. Lord Brahma, after the last performance, he knew, I'm not going to go to another yagya of Daksa. So deliberately Lord Brahma, he wasn't there. So all the demigods got together and they went. They went to see Lord Brahma and they prayed to him, what should we do? They said he said, there's no other recourse. You will have to go to Lord Shiva and beg for forgiveness. So then all the demigods, they went to Kailash. So Kailash was like this, very beautiful, a very high mountain, full of flowers and trees, bumblebees, deer were playing here and there, cuckoo birds were singing, peacocks were dancing. And there Lord Shiva was sitting with his left foot on his right thigh, like this, and giving instructions in the Bhagavatam. Even Narad Muni was there listening to Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Shiva. So all the devotees came down there to Kailash and they gave pranams and they prayed to Lord Shiva, please be kind to us. You should give Bhrigu Rishi again his moustache and give eyes and teeth to Vyabhaga and Pusha. And please bring Daksha Maharaj back to life so that we can complete the sacrifice for the benefit of the whole universe. So hearing the humble prayers of the devotees, so Lord Shiva agreed. And he came back to the yagya there. And there was a goat that was to be sacrificed. And he took the head of that goat and put the head of the goat on the head of Daksha Maharaj. On the neck of Daksha Maharaj. So then, there was a very astonishing moment. And now we come to the verse for today. This is the verse for today. You can remember this verse. It will give an inoculation against the first offense to the holy name. When Lord Shiva put the head of a goat on Daksha Maharaj, suddenly he came back to life. And he opened his eyes and saw Lord Shiva in front of him. Just seeing Lord Shiva, his heart became completely cleansed of all envy, of all hatred. And he was racked with remorse. He felt great regret. He was repenting intensely that he'd become proud, that he'd become offensive, that he'd become intolerant of the qualities of great Vaisnavas. Srimad Bhagavatam tells that a person in the bodily conception of life becomes envious of the divine opulences of a pure devotee. And their envy becomes so intense. They envy a pure devotee in the same way that the demons envy Krishna. This is the nature of this world. Bando mui savdhan mate. This is why Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, when we bow to Gurudev, very, very carefully, very attentively, because it is the nature of those in the bodily conception of life to envy the opulence of spiritually situated personalities. So now, Daksha Maharaj, before he was very effulgent, he was very beautiful. But now he had the head of a goat. How humiliating. Very humiliating. And seeing Shiva before him, his heart became purified and he began to pray to Lord Shiva. So then he said this verse. Yo so maya vidita tatpadisha sabhayam kshipto durukti bishika viganaya tanmam arvak patanta mahatam nindayapa Drishtya drayasa bhagavan swakritena tusyet. Yo, Jaha means that person, Lord Shiva, who Maya Avidita, Maya means by me. Avidita. Vidita means known. Avita means not known. Tattva. Tattva means the truth or the reality. Drisha means the vision. Maya vidita tattva drisha. He's saying, O Lord Shiva, in my vision, I did not know the truth of your exalted personality. I did not understand Vaishnava Tattva. What is the position of a transcendently situated saint? So, yoso maya vidita tattva drisham sabhayam. Sabha means assembly. Ayam means this. So, sabhayam, in this assembly, kshipto durukti bishikair. Bishikair means by arrows. Of what? Durukti. Wicked words. Kshipto means the thrown. Therefore, in this assembly, because I was unaware of your exalted position, I have shot the sharp arrows of wicked words and insults at you. But what did you do? Viganaya. Gana means count. But from your perspective, you did not count my harsh words. That means you did not take them seriously at all. Aravak patantam. Aravak means down. Aravak patantam means falling. Falling down. So what happens? Ahatama. Ahatama means a great personality. Nindaya means by offense. By making an offense to a great personality, Aravak patantam, one falls down to a very hellish condition. But what happened to me? Here, nindaya pad. This not nindaya pad, it's nindaya apad. Apad means I have not fallen down. Here I am, I'm still in heaven and before you. Why is it that I have not fallen down to the hellish condition of life? Because drishta draya. Drishti means seeing, and adraya means melting heart. Because even though I shot the arrows of wicked words to you, not recognizing your exalted position, you did not take my words seriously, but your heart was melting in compassion for me. I'm sorry, should I say that again? Yeah. So here, adraya means melting heart. Means even though I shot the arrows of harsh words at you, you did not count this, but rather you looked upon me with a melting heart, with compassion. So I understand that what I have been through, being killed, receiving the head of a goat and everything, you didn't have to do this. You could have just walked away, and then I would gradually, my opulences would wane, and then I would die, and in my next life I would suffer for so many lifetimes. But out of kindness, you gave this punishment to purify me, because your heart melted with compassion for me, even though I had hostility towards you. So here, there's a contrast between the previous personality of Daksha and the sweetness of Lord Shiva, the sweetness of a Vaisnava, who feels compassion even for those who want to kill him. Aho Ananda-Dham drashamam tattvamadhyame kritagasopi yadrajan mangalani samihase. Just like Durvasa Rishi. Durvasa Rishi, when he was saved from the chakra, because the Ambrish Maharaj prayed that the chakra should, that he should be forgiven. So then Durvasa Rishi said, Aho Ananda-Dham. How astonishing is, today I've seen the greatness of a pure devotee. Even though I tried to kill him, he was praying for my benefit. So also in this verse, there's the contrast between the wickedness of the offender and the compassion, the sweetness of the pure devotee. And also, here is the description of Daksha's mood before and also afterwards, because now he's repenting that he was not able to recognize and appreciate the qualities of Lord Shiva. So he said, Sabhagavan swakriteina tusyat. You yourself are Atmaram, you are self-satisfied. So there's nothing that I can do. There's nothing I can give you. There's nothing I can do to satisfy you. So swakriteina tusyat. Tusyat means may you be satisfied. Swakriteina, by your own compassionate nature. So in this way, Daksa Maharaj offered prayers to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva was satisfied with him and gave him permission. Now continue with the sacrifice. He also gave blessings to the others that were injured in the battles. And then all together, now like one happy family, when the fire of offense had been extinguished by the mercy of Lord Shiva, then all the devatas together, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Daksa Maharaj, Bhrigu Muni, Nandishwara, all was forgotten and they performed the sacrifice. And what happened? From the sacrificial fire appeared the form of Lord Vishnu. And everyone bowed down to him and offered prayers. Why? Because there are some who are followers of Lord Shiva or of Lord Brahma, and they think that their Ishtadev is supreme. But in this very famous pastime, we see when they did yagya, Lord Vishnu appeared and they all offered prayers to him. So in this way, all have combined together to glorify the Supreme Lord and give the teaching that the Vishnu Tattva is supreme above all. To give this teaching to the whole world. So by this, the very powerful drama, the Qatar of Srimad Bhagavatam leaves a deep samskar in our hearts to not allow any ill words to come from our lips, and not to allow any ill speech to come into our ears. There's one mat in Jagannath Puri, in the Satar Santila. It was founded by Param Pujpad Sri Swarup Siddhanti Maharaj and Param Pujpad Sri Bharati Maharaj. So in that mat there's one statue of the three wise monkeys, you know? Three wise monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. One monkey is like this, and one like this. So they have this on the mat. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, it is said in regard to him, Vaishnavera nindya-kama nahi porikani sabi Krishna bhajan kare e matta-jani. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami never let the criticism of Vaishnavas go into his ear. He would stop at once. Stop. And he would fold his hands and say, everyone is doing bhajan except for me. So be careful. If you don't have something positive to say, just be silent. If you want your bhakti-lata to be healthy, and go to Goloka Vrndavan and produce the fruit of Prem. You know, there was another critical person. His name was Amoga. He was the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he used to invite Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri to the honor Jagannath Prasadam in his home. So he knew that his son-in-law, Amoga, was very critical of Caitanya Mahaprabhu even. So he forbade his son-in-law to come to the house. And even he was standing at the door with a stick. He said, if he comes, I'll beat him. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu sat down, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya put down his stick. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was serving the Mahaprasad to Mahaprabhu. So many preparations. So just at that moment when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was serving and he was inattentive, then Amoga showed up. His son-in-law, who was married to his daughter Sati. And he walked in, he said, well, look at this Mahaprasadam. Sannyasis are supposed to be meet the book. You know, in Srimad Bhagavatam it says one of the symptoms of a pure devotee is meet the book. They eat very little. But this sannyasi has more prasadam than 10 people can eat. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became furious. Where's my stick? And he grabbed his stick and he wanted to beat Amoga. And Amoga ran for his life. So he was young, he could run fast, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could not run so fast. So he could not catch him. So then Amoga ran away. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came back inside, put down his stick. And he was weeping and he fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu. I invited you to my house only to be insulted. Alas, alas. Mahaprabhu was laughing. He said, what's the problem? What he said was true. This is enough for 10 people. Mahaprabhu was very open-hearted. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, that's it. I reject him. I will never accept him as my son-in-law. And the wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also, she was crying. And she took a vow. She said, oh, may Sati become a widow. That means that may my daughter become a widow. That means indirectly that Amoga should die. And they were very, very upset. So then, Amoga, he ran very far away. And just then, he contracted cholera. Very dangerous disease. He was coughing, he was vomiting, he could not move. And he was on his deathbed. Caitanya Mahaprabhu returned to the house of Kashi Mishra where he was staying. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife, they were so upset with what happened in their home that they were fasting. So at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's brother-in-law, Gopinathacharya, he went to Mahaprabhu. He said, oh, it is a very critical situation. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife are fasting. And Amoga, he's on his deathbed with cholera. At once Caitanya Mahaprabhu got up. And he went directly to the place where Amoga was lying, about to die. And he put his hand on his heart. And he said, oh Amoga! You are a Brahmin. So a Brahmin's heart is pure. It is a place where Krishna lives. So how is it that you have let your heart become contaminated by the Matsarya? Envy. At once, get up and chant Hare Krishna. And never allow envy to enter into your heart again. So then Amoga Lila, though he was about to die, somehow he tried to get up. And he called, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. By the mercy of Mahaprabhu, his heart became completely pure. Tears were streaming from his eyes, his hairs were standing on end. All the ecstatic symptoms of love of God came in his body. Mahaprabhu was laughing. So then Mahaprabhu thought, oh, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife are fasting. So quickly he went to their house also. And they fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu. Please forgive us. So Mahaprabhu said, oh, Amoga is like, he's your son. He's your son-in-law, so he's like your son. So if the son makes some offense, the father does not take it very seriously. And look, now he's chanting Harinam. And he's very, very regretful. So you should take Mahaprasadam. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu made Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife take Mahaprasadam. And Amoga Lila, now he was very embarrassed about what he'd done in the past. And he was slapping his own face like this. And his lips became swollen and bruised. He said, oh, with this mouth I have criticized. With this mouth. So you should also do it. If you criticize anyone, you should slap your own face. With this mouth I have criticized someone. And seeing that his mouth was swollen, Gopinathacharya caught his arms and stopped him. So in this way, in Srimad Bhagavatam and in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Supreme Lord has manifested these beautiful pastimes. Why? To inoculate us, to teach us, to protect us against this most evil tendency to have enmity towards anyone and criticize any devotee. And by this, then one can overcome the first offense to the holy name. And if we can only overcome the other 9, then Prem at once will appear.